Chest. How now, brown cow? There we go. We already did that. I'm not shredding files again. So we're here again. Unfortunately, when I released the fraud report 2023, it was audio only and it was on my Substack. That's unfortunate because there's no video and I deleted the video of me recording. So I'm going to re-record what I gave you guys on my Substack here today. We're going to go over the 2023 fraud report and upload it to my YouTube channel. So this video is strictly for YouTube right now. What is the fraud report? Fraud report is basically that. It's a report on frauds. There's people that are fraudulent and there's people that aren't. It's pretty much that simple. The way to get on the fraud report is to do something fraudulent. Or maybe you're not fraudulent. Your image isn't fraudulent, but if you dig into the details, it's probably a fraud. So it takes a lot to get on there. I'm not going to just put every dickhead on it. It's usually people that are pretty famous, have a pretty big, and they have a huge following, and they have defenders that'll just tooth and nail. They'll fight for them no matter what. The kind of weirdos that will never meet that person in real life, but will say shit like, I'll take a bullet for that guy. Like, that's fucking weird, man. But anyway, the 2020 fraud report is on my Substack. You can read that one. It's got the usual suspects on there. JJ Watt, Tim Tebow. You already know what they did. Everyone knows what they did. There's no reason to get into that again. If you want to, you can go back, watch that, or read that report. But this report, not going to get into that. This report leads off with none other than Elon Musk. Make some noise. So Elon is very influential. He pushed the electric car market. He drove the entire thing on his own. No pun intended. Other car companies were dragging their feet. We're going to go hybrid. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. He goes, no, I'm going full electric and we're going to figure this shit out on the fly. That's cool and all. That's it. I think overall, Elon Musk is a net positive for humanity. However, there's a few things about Tesla you should probably know. A, it's highly subsidized by taxpayers. So what does that mean, right? Its stock price, way overinflated. You saw it took a dip when he bought Twitter. It's starting to come back up a little bit. But for the most part, if you look at other car companies, they're about half, and there's reason for that. Those aren't subsidized. So you can picture it. We subsidize about half of Tesla is what the number is. So, and there's a reason for that. You know, we want to invest as a country into green energy. So the tax credits and all this stuff are there. Elon Musk takes advantage of it, which is nothing wrong with. There's nothing illegal. There's nothing shady about that. That's just what you do. Another problem, but one of the problems with these cars is that they're not as clean as they are advertised to be. So him revolutionizing the electric vehicle market is well and good. However, the materials it takes to make one of these is about 15 to 20% more carbon than a car would use over the lifetime of 180,000 miles. So to put it a little more simple, if you had a gas car and you had a Tesla, you would have to drive a gas car 180,000 miles before it became less efficient than driving a Tesla. With that being said, a hybrid car, if you have a hybrid engine, it's 400,000 miles, around there, 380, 400,000 miles. So you can drive a hybrid 400,000 miles before it becomes less efficient than driving a Tesla. Teslas don't last more than like 200,000 miles. So right there, you're like, something doesn't add up. The math isn't there. But like I said, he's pushing it through. Now he's forcing other car makers to make these cars. But it's going to be about 10 years before this becomes an issue because the lithium and the minerals it takes to make these batteries for these cars is running out, and it's going to run out. It's not an infinite resource, and they're kind of hard to find. They're hard to mine, and we're going to run out, basically. So once the demand goes down, the price should go down. However, the price is going to continue to remain high because by that time, we're going to be running out of these materials and we're going to have to figure out something else. So you're hoping that someone's on top of it, right? Like there's always that one person, like we don't know how any of this shit actually works, but you're always hoping that there's somebody on top of it. Or he's going to just bank all this money, and by the time it becomes a problem, he's going to be, 65, 70 years old, and that'll be that. So depends how you look at it. That doesn't seem like it's the biggest issue, but that is one of the issues with Teslas. Doesn't really make him the fraudulent part. That's just one of the steps in the fraudulent ladder that he decided to climb up. Next thing is this Mars thing, right? So SpaceX, it's great. It's all well and good. I like it. I think it's cool. He kind of got space cool again because no one really gave a shit since like the moon landings. He kind of like brought the hype back, and it's just cool to see these things go. They launch, they come back down, they land within like 20 feet of this landing pad, almost exactly where they're supposed to land. It's pretty wild. However, SpaceX is also heavily subsidized, and his whole thing is, we're just planning to go to Mars. We're planning to go to Mars. And I get it. It's where we should be going. It's our next, like we went to the moon. We can't go to Venus. We're going to go to Mars. I think at this point, it's one of these things he's just going to keep repeating until it happens, until it doesn't happen. Like it's just not going to happen. And I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I would love it if it did, but I think he has to keep gassing up investors and getting capital and, keeping the enthusiasm of the crowd going to just be like, this is our end game, is to go to Mars. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. It's just doesn't seem feasible. I know he keeps saying every interview he does, it's always 4 years away. It's been 4 years away for the last 10 years. But anyway, that's fraudulent behavior in my book. But what really kind of turns it off to me was the Twitter thing. So Twitter used to be my favorite app. I would be on Twitter all the time. And I'm still on it. I didn't get rid of my Twitter account. I'm not paying the fucking $8 though. Kiss my ass. And the platform did have its issues before he took over. Like people say that they were shadow banned. And it's like, okay, I understand that. However, Twitter can operate however it wants. It has its own terms of service. It's not a government ran thing. People say it's a free speech thing, but they don't have to abide by free speech. They can deny, amplify, they can do whatever they want. It's their company. Him taking it over, the Elon stands were like, oh, this is going to be great. Free speech is back. And it's like, now you just have permission to be a dickhead. And by dickhead, I mean like you're saying some anti-Semitic shit, or you're saying some homophobic shit, racist stuff. So if your sentence starts with not to be anti-Semitic, but you probably shouldn't have a platform. Like, I'm sorry, that shouldn't be anything you should say. And I'm all for free speech. I'm not saying you can't say that. You could say it however you want. There's consequences to it. And Twitter used to have the consequences. You would get banned, shadow banned, suspended, whatever. Those are the consequences. I'm sorry, you have consequences. Even if you have free speech in the real world, outside of Twitter, in the street, you can't just walk up to somebody and call them the N-word and then not expect to get your ass kicked. That's a consequence. You have the free speech to say the word, but you also have to deal with the consequences of it afterwards. So saying something that's out of control on Twitter and you get banned, that's part of their rules, and they make the rules. And they can do whatever they want. So he takes it over, and he's like, it's going to be free speech central, and you could say whatever you want, and everything's back, this and that. By the way, you got to pay $8 for that, though. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought you said free speech. Yeah, it's free speech, but you have to pay for it. And you see the issue right there, right? If I have to explain that, you're not paying attention, or you just think he's the smartest person in the world. So now you got people that are paying $8 a month, getting amplified when they have no business being amplified. I never had a blue check mark. I'm not a popular person on Twitter. But when you see a tweet from somebody with the blue check mark, you used to be able to guarantee that person's importance somewhere in some circle, But now any dickhead can just pay $8 and get a blue check mark, and they can say whatever they want. That, and you can make up whatever name you want. So if it's like at ESPN, you can put at ESPN _real or something and pay for a blue check mark. So you can easily get confused and it can cause problems. So full disclosure, I still use Twitter. It's not as good as it was. They changed the algorithm a little bit, so all I see is a lot of porn and I see a lot of fights. But it's not what it used to be, and I like the old way. So call me whatever you want, but I think the old Twitter was better. It had its problems, but problems that could be fixed. And now you have paywalls and premium features and all this shit. And let's not forget, when he bought it, he's like, I'm not going to change it to raise my own profile. Like, I'm buying it for the people. What do you say? Something populous, whatever the fucking Greek phrase was he kept saying. Vox populous, something like that. And then I think after it was around the Super Bowl, Biden tweeted something, President Biden tweeted something and got more traction than he did. And then all of a sudden for like the next week, all you saw was his tweets. And then one of the engineers said, oh no, this is the Elon code. And he showed a code on Reddit maybe, or one of these subreddits, of a code that's been added to the stack that is designed to boost Elon's tweets. So it's like you spent $44 billion on just being the popular kid now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just seems kind of lame. It seems kind of fraudulent to me. So that's why he's there. And let's not forget that he spent $44 billion on this thing. Didn't want to do it. He said it as if it would never be accepted. And then the company was like, well, we have shareholders. Yeah, we're going to take the $44 billion. And I'm not into the finance world of it, but the way he made the offer, it was too late to back. You can't make an offer like that and then say like, oh, I was just joking. Because it drives the market price up and down. It becomes a whole thing. And so he makes this offer, realizes it's way too high, and then tries to back out of it, but he was forced to keep going with it because he would have gotten sued for fucking with the stock price of Twitter at the time. So he really didn't want the thing at the end of the day. And then all of a sudden he's stuck with it. Now he's making these paywalls. He's losing money. It's worth half of that, and it's just losing value. Advertisers are leaving, all this stuff. So I use a good example of when you used to stay home from school and you'd watch like the shopping channel, and it's like a 30-minute commercial about buying like a slap chop. And that dude's sitting there just like jerking the slap chop off all day. You're like, that thing's awesome. I want that. Even though you're probably like 10 years old and you've never chopped anything, let alone used the slap chop to do it. So you're hounding your mom, like, come on, it's $29.95. And your mom's like, it's 4 payments of $29.95. And you're like, no, I need to have it. I need to have it. And then after about 20 minutes of haggling your parents, you finally get them to buy it. You get it. You use it twice. You leave it in the drawer. That's that. Never use it again. So you spent $80 on a fucking thing that ends up being useless. It breaks. It's kind of built cheap. And that's that. That's kind of what he did. Really wanted the shiny toy. Was like, I want it. Gets it. Ruins it. And I guarantee within like 5 years, this thing's going to be gone. Less than that, more than likely. So he took a good thing that used to be great and then just fucking shit all over it. So, next thing on this list, the vaccine. Now, I'm not anti-vax. I'm not pro-vax. You know what I am? I'm pro shutting the fuck up. So this should have been an American achievement. It's not common that we have these anymore. There's certain things that are American achievements, like landing a man on the moon. That's something no matter what side of the aisle you're on, you can get behind, right? The space shuttle. I guess the internet. I think we developed the internet. Not sure. But like companies like Microsoft, where they invented Windows. It's an American company. It's stuff everyone can be like, that's a pretty good invention. The iPhone, shit like that. This should have been up there with those. Like, we created a vaccine in like 8 months for a virus we didn't know that much about. And like, yeah, it has its flaws, but overall it worked. Like, yeah, you could still get COVID-19. Now there's variants, but that's what viruses do. They change. But at the time, it was a pretty good feat to make this vaccine. And you got to give President Trump credit. Like, he was like, Operation Warp Speed, we're going to get this done. We're going to do it. That being said, people just need to shut the fuck up about it now. Either you got it or you didn't. I don't need to know. I could give a fuck if you got it or you didn't get it. If you get sick, you get sick. I don't want to be like, oh, I got sick, but I got the vaccine. That's a stupid thing to say. Just get it or don't get it. No one's forcing it down your throat. And if you worked for a job that required it, and you got fired for not getting it, that's your fault. If you worked for a job that didn't require it and then you got it, you shouldn't tell your coworkers to get it. You should just shut the fuck up. So the problem with the vaccine is it should have just been a universal. We did the right thing. We got this done. Let's keep it moving. Instead, it turned into, I'm a pure blood now. And it's like, well, that's fucking stupid. And you got white girls posting on their shit like, better get vaccinated. I got mine. And it's like, who? You wouldn't say that about anything else. No one says that about the HPV fucking vaccine, but people go out and get it. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. People got kicked out of the military for not getting it. And then they're bitching that they're working at fucking Walmart now. And it's like, hey, asshole, in basic training, you walk down an aisle and just got poked with every fucking vaccine they can give you. You didn't mind that, but this is what you fucking care about. So the politicization of it, damn, that was a tough one. Politicization, I don't know, of it became fucking too much, and people giving their opinions on it just need to shut the fuck up. And that's that. This one I feel like is easily the most agreeable one. Unless you're about 18 to 22 and you're just discovering him for the first time. But Gary fucking V, this fucking dickhead, he's been an asshole for as long as I can remember. He's never actually said anything that's that smart. And he has like this shtick that he does where you hire him to give a pep talk or a speech, or if you ever hear him speak, it's a lot of cursing. So he's like, yeah, fucking work hard. You need to be working fucking 19 hours a fucking day for the rest of your fucking life. And it's like, dude, I don't want to do that, man. You know, I'd rather live a little less fucking, with a little less money and enjoy my time than be working 19-hour days and 20-hour days and eat, sleeping, and breathing. That's why this guy looks like he's 70 years old. I think he's only like 45. Like, I don't think he's that old. But if you look at him, like, this dude's going through some shit. And he has money now to not be working, or he says he has money. We're going to get into this. But his whole thing is work smarter, longer, cut people off, no matter what, do whatever it takes, all this shit. And it's like, bro, that ain't it anymore. Like, yeah, I get the hustling part. You got to stay moving. You got to always have multiple streams of income. I'm all for it. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun ever. You know? You can't enjoy time to yourself. If you're having a tough fucking day, it doesn't mean you need to fight through it to succeed. And there's studies, multiple studies. They've studied this shit because this is like a new phenomenon, and it's got to do with like the internet and people just getting rich for no reason. But working extremely hard like that, nonstop, like, oh, wake up at fucking 1:30 in the morning and form an LLC. It's like, that's not healthy, number one. You're going to get burnt out. And once you're burnt out, you know how long it takes you to reset? I don't know if anyone's experienced burnout. I'm not talking like you worked hard that day and you're exhausted afterwards. I'm talking like an extreme amount of work you've done in like a month. If you're working 12, 15-hour days for like 30 straight days, and then you stop, it takes like a week to get your shit back together. Sometimes like you reset and your motivation's completely different, and your mindset changes to like, I need to focus on something else now. And you stop caring about that thing you were doing for the last 30 days. So it actually hinders you in the long run. It's easier to work from 8 to 10 hours a day really hard and then resting the rest of the time. But what do we know, right? We're just fucking pussies. He's like, oh, you gotta get fucking work hard. You gotta fucking kill your fucking mom to get succeed in this world. And it's like, oh, whatever, man. But what brought him on this radar, because he's always been like that. What got him on my radar now is this new thing he did on TikTok. And I don't know where, definitely not a TV show. There's no way they're putting this on any streaming channel. And if they do, then I don't watch it anyway, so it doesn't matter. But he would go to garage sales and yard sales and rip the people off. So anyone that's ever been to or had a garage sale or yard sale knows that you're just getting rid of junk. You don't have no idea what to do with it, but you don't want to throw it out. So you're like, I'll sell it. I'll make a few bucks, because it's like a lamp. Like, what are you going to do? Throw it out? It's a lamp. You sell it for like $10. That's $10 you didn't have before. So some people do it because they need money. So other people are doing it because they're moving. But it's mostly, you don't see millionaires having yard sales. You know, you don't see rich people doing it. It's mostly for people that don't have that much money, or that's basically it. So this guy with his little team of fucking yes people and rats, like packed into a fucking van, and they go out and they find these yard sales. And keep in mind, he's a millionaire. So they would go out and find these yard sales, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go get this guy. I'm going to get a good deal out of this. I'm going to get a deal. It's all about the deal and the hustle. He puts on a shitty fucking costume. You could, if you know what he looks like, you would spot him right away. It's nothing. He's not doing anything like high end. He's like putting on like a sunglasses and a hat. And then he walks up, and it's usually an older couple, or at least the clips I've seen. It's been a couple that's above 55. How much for this? The guy's like 15. All right, how much for this? 10. I got to tell you, pal, we're far away right now. How much for this? And it's $5 each. So it comes out to like $45 if you bought each thing individually. And so at yard sales and garage sales, you can talk to the person. If you're like, I only have 40. All right, here, take it. This dude's like, how about I give you 20 for all of it cash right now on the spot? You're going to take it? You're going to take it? And he like badgers them until they fucking say yes. And the person sitting there is not a fucking negotiator. They're just sitting outside. They're tired. They don't want to be doing this shit either. All right, cool. They take it, the $20, and he's like, and he walks back to his little fucking tribe, and they start giggling and shit. And he goes, see this right here? This was $10. This was $5. This was $25, and I got it all for $20. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put it on eBay. We're gonna sell it. We're gonna sell the fucking things on eBay for a profit. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Why do you need an extra $100 when you make all this money supposedly and you're a millionaire? Why are you ripping off old people that are just selling like their like life stuff that they've accumulated and they have nothing to do with? You know, like, what's the point of this? Like, what are you trying to prove? That you can make a good deal against somebody that's not a negotiator, that's not a businessman? Like, I would rather have him go into a boardroom and show us that. Not that anyone really gives a shit, but that'd be better if he was like, I'm going to go into this boardroom, I'm going to fucking kill it. And he comes out, he signs like $1 billion deal or something shit. It wouldn't happen because he's fraudulent, so it would never happen that way. But you're taking money out of poor people's hands, and you're just being a dick. Like, if those people make an extra $100, $200 that day, they could pay a bill, they could pay for gas, they could pay for something that they don't think they could have paid for before, like a dinner or something, or anything really. It's useful to that person. He doesn't need it, so it's not useful to him. Like, $20 to a poor person is going to go a lot further than $20 to a rich person. I'm just saying. So that's what got it, because I hate that kind of shit. Like, you're punching down. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't punch down in life. I was always taught punch up, punch above your weight class, and go from there. Because if you're punching down, you want to help the people that are under you. You shouldn't step over them or step on them. But anyway, the next thing he was doing, which is also fucking shady, was his NFT things. So NFTs, just expensive JPEGs, and they were hot for like 2 months, if that. But if you go back to his social media, he might have deleted it because, the fraud thing. He was saying, you need to buy the property in the metaverse. You need to buy my NFTs. Here's this, here's that. These are going to be the biggest thing. Get into it now. Spend all your money on it. It's going to triple, double, quadruple in value. This and that. And then there was a point where it turned into, buy the ones I have. Buy mine. I have these. You should buy my property. Want to know why? Because he was taking a fucking bath on it. He lost millions of dollars on these fucking pictures. They're internet pictures. You can right click on them and save it. There's nothing special about these things, but he spent a shitload of money on it. He'll never tell you. And that's why he started doing that weird show, because I think he ran out of some money, and his whole thing is money. But he has a wine business that his family gave him that, like, yeah, it's worth $1 million, and he turned it into 10 million. So, like, yeah, you did a good job, but you also had $1 million business that was handed to you. So he's not like hurting for money, but I think he just lost a lot of money on that. So again, punching down. Now he's telling you to buy mine, buy mine. He's overcharging it and all this stuff. So, fraud. And then the next group, which is the last group out of this whole thing, you had to have heard these people. I found out the name of them, how to encompass all of these people into one category. It's called the manosphere. It started with Andrew Tate, and then these little fuckers started spawning off of that. Sneeko, Pearl, who's like a female hater. She's like the character from Handmaid's Tale that like designed this thing for women that they're just supposed to be in the house making babies. She like hates females herself. Sneeko, Myron from Fresh and Fit, these dudes. So Andrew Tate started this whole thing, I feel like. But a lot of his advice is sound and it does make sense. Like, start working on yourself, like increase your value as a person. Start doing things to better your life. Work harder, go to the gym, get in better shape, like stuff like that. That's helpful information. And he's one that's like backed it up. You know, he was an MMA fighter. He can box. And that's all well and good. But then he turned into like this caricature of himself. And you have to drive a Bugatti. And we're going to traffic women into fucking Sweden or wherever the hell he was. Romania. That's a whole different thing. But these guys all jumped on this train and they took it. They keep taking it further and further. So you got this whatever podcast, Fresh and Fit, this guy Sneeko, Pearl. They're just dick riders, end of the day. They're just riding Tate's coattails. So usually you see these people on TikTok, Instagram, and there's always like a 30-second clip. And it usually starts with something like this. What do you think is a woman? And they're asking, it's going to sound misogynistic, but a bimbo. They're asking somebody that's definitely not versed in any of this shit. And it's usually a girl that has like an OnlyFans or is just promiscuous or is a sex worker, something along those lines. What is a woman? And they sit there and they wait. And then the person's like, I think a woman is like, it's like a mindset. And they're like, you fucking idiot, you fucking moron, you stupid asshole. And they start screaming and shit. The one guy on the whatever podcast, he's like, that's the worst answer you could have given, and here's why. And he's typing, and it's like you're asking dumb people to answer a smart question. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you what a woman is either, because I'm not knowledgeable in it, and this isn't what this is. And then they freak out, and they're like, see, I told you, and then that's the clip. And then you listen to the whole podcast, and they're doing that over and over again just to get these viral clips. And it just becomes kind of annoying, and then they hit you with like so you don't think men are oppressed? Or they say like, tell me how men aren't oppressed. And the girl's like, well, I don't think men are oppressed because men can just, and then they're like, you fucking moron, men are oppressed. We have to go to war. We have to do this and this. And it's like, all right, we get what you're trying to say. And like some of it does have validity. Like there are problems. Men suffer from weird problems a lot. Like not weird, but serious problems. Like our suicide rate's really high. Our homeless rate's really high. When a custody battle happens for kids, the men usually lose, or they end up paying a shitload of child support. That's like well outside of their means to pay. But those are conversations to have. What these people are doing is similar to Gary Vee, where they're punching down and all they're doing is making money off highlighting this bad information. So like, yeah, you are correct. These are problems men are facing. However, just talking about it and getting these clicks and yelling at women, you're just making your name because of that. You're not actually helping the conversation. If you wanted to help, you can go out and talk to your congressman or whoever you want to be like, hey, we have this massive homeless problem. And it seemed to me only guys, like what's going on here? What they're doing is being like, watch my show, listen to me, yell at a woman, and you have to subscribe. If you don't subscribe, you're not going to be anything in life. And it's like, you're hustling, which making money isn't a problem, but you're making money off people that are buying into your bullshit. And the people that buy into this stuff, it's a certain type of person. Rarely do you find women buying into it. And if they do, it's because they're probably listening to their husband and they might not know any better. But it's usually, I'd say 90% of their crowd or the incels, the ones that sit inside all day. They haven't seen sunlight or another real person in a physical sense in years. They have no real friends. Whatever life they have is through a screen, and it's usually through like World of Warcraft or some bullshit game. And there's no shot these dudes ever getting laid. This is why Tate is good, because Tate's telling them, get the fuck outside, start moving around, get your body right, start making money, increase your value. What these guys are doing is saying the only way to do it is to listen to me And the way to listen to me is subscribe to me. I can tell you how to do it, but it's going to cost you. And like Tate does that thing with his Hustlers University or whatever the fuck. That's why he's kind of borderline on this category, because he's also trafficking on these people. But yeah, the people that follow them are like the women haters, like the He-Man women haters. Like, oh, we're going to take it back. I'm not getting laid because girls suck. And it's like, no, you're not getting laid because you're fucking 60 pounds overweight. You haven't showered since fucking December and you smell like fucking Mountain Dew. So no, it's not the girl's fault. And you're not going out there to get laid. That's the thing. I'm not saying going out there and getting laid is easy, and you're not going to hook up with 10s. But if you want to have sex, you can go out there and have some sex. All you do is dress nice, lose a little weight, dress nice, and start talking to girls. Go to the bar and start talking to girls. It's not crazy to do. People that have hung out with me have seen me fail hundreds of times. I was going to say millions, but that's crazy. Hundreds of times before actually hooking up with a girl. Like, and I say stupid shit. Like, they've heard me say crazy shit to girls that just doesn't make any sense, and I make myself sound stupid. But if you really want to get laid, it's not that hard to do. Like, you got to have a little bit of game, be a little charming, and make sure you don't smell like fucking feet. And you have more than enough chance to go out and hook up with a chick. Might not be a model. You might not be hooking up with the hottest girl at the bar, but it's not that hard to do. So they're preying on these idiots that have problems to begin with. And then they're like, subscribe to me and spend your money on my shirt. And you can walk around with a fresh and fit shirt on and people will know that you don't fuck around. And it's like, that's weird. And people are like, oh, I'm going to be a Sigma male or an alpha male because of this. And it's like, you're getting your advice from another dude. I thought alphas don't do that. I thought beta males follow people. I thought alphas and the Sigma male, what they call themselves, are leaders on their own. They don't need to follow anybody. But it's like, yo, you're following these dudes. Doesn't that make, and they're telling you you're an alpha, doesn't that make you a beta? If you see what I'm saying? Like, you're following somebody that's telling you to be an alpha. It's like, doesn't that make you a beta then if you're following somebody? I digress. That might be a bigger point for a bigger time. But that ends the list for the 2023 fraud report. There's honorable mentions in here. I'm just going to name them and not talk about them right now because we're already running long. But the honorable mentions: Deer, the haters, obviously, people that don't lift, and Rain. But we're going to get into that another time. So that wraps it up. We had the fraud report, had Elon Musk, Gary fucking V, the vaccine, and the manosphere. This is the 2023 report. It can be updated, could be amended. Again, it's not a static list. Things can be added here and there, but I'm not going to add somebody just because they had a tough night or a tough week. It's got to be like a continuous thing, and it's got to be fraudulent. There's a threshold you have to hit, become a fraud. But anyway, that wraps it up. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to my Twitch channel, and subscribe to my Substack. That's going to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you guys next time.